Curious about if it's okay when we outgrow our mentors? That's coming up. Hi, my name is Mel. I'm the owner, operator, creator of Mel's Divination. And today we're going to talk all about outgrowing our mentors. This is something that happens and it is perfectly acceptable. And we're going to talk about options of what happens when we do outgrow our mentors, feelings that we have, and how to handle it. So first, I'm going to share my story about my mentors a little bit and how I've outgrown mine, and that is perfectly acceptable. And then we're going to talk about how you can handle yours. So, and for those of you who don't know me, I'm going to be looking down a little bit to look at my notes to keep myself organized so I'm not all over the place. I'm a talker. So the easiest way to do this for me is to stay organized and look at my notes. So over the years of learning on my spiritual path, I've had many mentors. And when I sat down to make the notes for this video, I was thinking about it. Some were very prevalent and some were short-lived. It really depends on where I was in my path. Some were really big, some were really little. Some I just talked to a few times, and some had major influences in my life. So it really depended on where I was. Some have become friends, and some I don't talk to at all anymore. Some I've let go because of me just outgrowing them. And some, there's been some disconnect on a negative level. Most of these people are people who I considered mentors. I remain in touch with the majority, and I've continued to respect and look up to them. The reason why I say most is a small select few have fallen off that list. I want you guys to look at, and I'm going to link it above, my false prophet video. A few people, and I made that video for a reason from personal experience. A few people along the way, we're all human, right? And one of the reasons in my channel that I always am asking for constructive, positive, healthy feedback is we're constantly growing. Everybody makes mistakes, including myself, and I will never pretend to be the end of resources. A few people, we're all human. Some people have fallen kind of out of their path for whatever reason, and I'm not going to get into that. Just watch my false prophet video. So for some hints of why. Anyway, as with any teacher, they each individually came along at a certain time in my life when I needed them most on my path. So I was guided to them, or I was called to them, or they fell into my life, literally, for one reason or another. Some taught me more about my craft. Others taught me more about myself. And some taught me more about seeing other people, like how to see other people. It really depended on what each person specialized in and what their purpose was in my life. Like I said, each person is there for a reason. Now, what I wanted to talk about and share with you guys today is, as anything in the spiritual world and in life, we outgrow our teachers. And for those of you who have been following me for a while, or for those of you who are new to me, first of all, thank you for joining me. But if you don't know me, before I really jumped into this full time, I was a teacher of education. I worked in schools as a teacher. I was a special education teacher for many, many years. And now I teach spiritual things, witchcraft and tarot, and I coach. I consider myself a spiritual coach because I do all sorts of stuff. So just like with our teachers in grade school and elementary school and middle school and high school and college, we outgrow these teachers, these spiritual teachers, myself included. People that resonate with me now may not resonate with me in a year or two. And that's life, and that's okay. So it happens to all of us. And I think back to some of my earliest spiritual teachers who first taught me things about readings and about myself when I first needed a guide to do that. And people who I still care, they're people who I still care about very deeply. But they taught me in ways that I don't really use anymore, or ways that I've compounded on. I started with baby building blocks. Like if you think about it as like kindergarten or first grade, you learned math, you learned numbers. You still may use numbers. You're always going to use numbers. You're always going to use basic addition, but you're going to be using multiplication. You're going to be using algebra. You're going to be using division in your life. You're not just going to stay at 1 + 1. You're going to expand your knowledge. So that's how I see it as a teacher, as a teacher who worked in schools. That's how I view it. That's how the best way is for me to describe it to my viewers. It's almost like we start out with minimal knowledge, and then we need someone to show us the way. And that person gives us all their knowledge that they have, or that they're willing to give, because it's a spiritual, personal journey. Maybe there's things that your mentor doesn't want to share with you, and that's their prerogative, and cool. So they share their knowledge with you, and then you grow as much as you can from that. And then something bright and shiny catches your eye that is something else. You've outgrown that. Anyway, and I'm a little off track from my notes, so let me refocus. But I still really care about these people. It doesn't mean I don't care about these people that have shown me that way. Like, you don't hate your first grade teacher because you moved on to third grade. You've leveled up. You've leveled up to the next step, right? So I still deeply care about them. It's just maybe my values have changed a little, or maybe my knowledge has moved on, or maybe my interests have changed. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. So who I was when I first met these people has evolved, okay? I've grown. And I'll never consider myself a master, as I started saying before. I'll never consider myself that, because, and I've said this in multiple videos now, I am a student of the world, a student of life. So as a student of life, I'm always learning, I'm always growing. There's so much that I need to still learn, which is why I ask for feedback, which is why I ask for more information from you guys as my community. I'm never gonna know everything. And nobody is ever gonna know everything in reality. It's impossible. Our brains can only hold so much. There's only so much time in the day to learn. And I'm always wanting to expand and learn and know more. And that's just where I'm at. So these people that I first started with who taught me, there was one who taught me about angels. There was one who taught me about twin flames. There was one who taught me about tarot. And they all had their own individual style and uniqueness and helped to blend my abilities into what it is now. And then I took my intuition and my guides and my ancestors and blended that with what I've learned as well. So it's really evolved and progressed on its own with my help of mentors, with my help of my ancestors, with my help of my guides, and then some. So do I recommend getting some kind of a spiritual mentor? I do, because you're going to learn stuff from them that you would never read in a book. You're going to learn, you're going to have somebody that can help you coach and be guided that you would never pick up on your own. Now, My point is, a good mentor, teacher, gets their students ready for the world without them. So, all I can think of is the Karate Kid. But basically, your first grade teacher doesn't follow you all the way through high school, through college. They let you move up to the next level. So this is why these people who were mentors have become friends. I've moved on. The person who taught me about angels, who I love deeply, isn't into the witchcraft stuff. Not into it. It's not her thing, and that is fully fine. She doesn't like tarot either. Also fine. So we're still friends, and we still deeply care about each other, but I don't share that part with her because it's not her thing. So I've moved on spiritually in some aspects, and I'm still extremely grateful about the things that she's taught me because she really connected me with Archangel Michael way back in the day. He's a huge deity of mine a huge protector of mine. I don't know if deity is the best word, but a huge protector of mine that I connect to, a guardian, and just one that I always have connected with. My whole life, I felt him. And I didn't realize it was him until I started working with her, and I connected, and oh, that's what that energy is. That's how I connect through him. So yeah, sometimes you need some guidance to get there. Okay, so I'm so grateful for people like that. Now, one thing, again, you need to remember, these mentors are human, like I mentioned with false prophets. So you do need to be careful. Watch my false prophet video. They are not the end all be all. We are all human. We make mistakes. We have ego. And I'm not saying that about this angel mentor, don't get me wrong, but there are people out there that are misguided, and they think that they know, or they think they're leading you in a great direction. Watch my false prophets video, please, because there's been some really awful things that I've seen and heard from spiritual minded people. Even recently, I went to a gong bath not long ago, and somebody looked at a person and said, you manifested this, you brought this onto yourself. And it was somebody that was suicidal. They had just lost their entire home. They lost all their cats. And the person literally looked at her and said, you lost everything and you did it to yourself. And I just wanted to scream. And I'm sitting around 1,000 people, and this person said this to her. Oh, it's a good thing that this person was so strong. They didn't just go home and hurt themselves. And they had somebody like me sitting next to them going, don't listen to that bullshit. So please listen to my false prophets video. That experience actually isn't in there because I did the video prior to this situation that I just described. So anyway, yeah, there's a lot of people out there that will say things to you that will cause more harm than help. So make sure you are cautious, you are wise, you listen to your intuition, and you don't just blindly give yourself to people. That I do want to say. Now, the whole point of this is outgrowing our mentors, right? So that is about our being empathic beings, being sensitive beings. As a spiritual minded person, which, if you're a witch, if you're a spiritualist person, if you're a light worker, it doesn't matter. This should resonate, I hope, for anybody who is spiritually minded, who is sensitive. So as a spiritually minded individual, you may be sensitive about leaving these people behind. And that is why I wanted to make this video, because it is okay to leave them behind. Don't feel guilty. Don't feel like you have to keep going back and spending money and getting coaching sessions and you feel bad. This is a teacher whose job is to get you ready for the next step. And if they are making you feel bad, they're coming from ego. If they are intentionally, let me make that clear, intentionally making you feel bad. All right. I mean, one could be like you actually are just holding guilt inside of you and you're not releasing that. And that means you have your own stuff you have to work through with some shadow work. And we'll talk about shadow work another time, but your own lessons to learn. But you need to accept that we outgrow people. Maybe somebody doesn't resonate with you anymore. And that has happened to me over and over and over again with my mentors. I've outgrown so many of them over time. And that is totally okay, because it means you're growing up, you're leveling up, you're resonating in a different way. You've learned all you can from them, and it's time for the next step. And a lot of it has to do with your intuition is going stronger. And really, you should be listening to you above anything else. So if you're hearing over and over again, either I'm getting bored with listening to what they have to say, or I'm not, it's just not clicking anymore, or, I'm kind of tired of going back to these if it starts getting to a place of where it feels like an obligation, then it's time to move on. Then you're done. You don't need to keep going, because it means you've learned everything you can, and now you're just either you're giving money to somebody because you feel bad, or you feel like you have to, and now it's becoming codependent, and you don't want to be codependent. Either you don't need a mentor at all right now, or there's somebody else that you're ready to move on to, and maybe that mentor is waiting and it hasn't presented itself yet to you because you're clinging to this other person. Okay? I hope that makes sense. If you guys have questions with what I'm describing, please comment below, and I will gladly, I try to answer all my comments in the comment section. Sometimes it takes me a little bit, but so if you have any questions about what I'm saying, please comment below. Okay? I hope this is making sense for you. I also offer coaching sessions, so if there's anything here that you're feeling like you do need a coaching session from me, I can do, on my website I have like a big coaching package, but I can do a one-time coaching session as well. We can make it individualized. But that's not what this is all about. This is about you outgrowing your mentors and letting go of guilt of doing that, okay? So I think that's really all I wanted to get through about, we outgrow, we gain knowledge, we stretch. We have to leave them behind because, again, going back to the little kid reference, if you stayed in first grade forever and now you're 20, you should be out of high school going into college, or you should be out of high school going into the workforce or something like that. A 20-year-old in first grade with a bunch of 6-year-olds would look pretty funny. Just because you feel bad about leaving your first grade teacher, it's time for you to move forward. You're keeping yourself back out of fear, guilt, shame, ego. It's time to look at some of that stuff. Codependency, what's going on there? There's something to look at there. So it's okay to let go. You can befriend this person. Ask. Some mentors don't want to befriend. It depends on the professional relationship. Some people have a strong contract about that. I know one of the people that I've done, had a working relationship with, she has a very strong no policy about being friends with her clients. So you need to respect that too. And I will be doing a respecting boundaries as a client versus a professional relationship boundary thing. I will be doing a video coming up about that. Actually, that's coming very, very soon, within the next 2 weeks probably. That's on my list of the very soon to do, because we are humans and we need to be respected. So just keep that in mind. But if your mentor is cool and they're open with that, and that they're okay with eventually phasing into a friendship or a casual check-in, phase into that if you have an issue with releasing. So when you outgrow people that are mentoring you, maybe their messages don't resonate, you don't feel like you're learning anything, and you just aren't really gaining anything anymore. And it's time to move into your next direction. That's okay. That's really my last message that I need to say. And if they're not understanding with it, there's something toxic there. There's something codependent there. There's some problem there. And that's part of the false prophet. Again, I want you to look at that. One of the false prophets that I've heard about, not personally, but somebody that I know, the person continuously was trying to get this individual to come back because they needed their money. I need your money. You don't want a session? Come on. So if there's somebody like that that's kind of like pushing for sessions, there's something wrong there. They shouldn't be pushing you for a session. They should be pushing you to grow on your own. If you don't need a session, then you don't need a session. And that's cool too. There's like I said, boundaries between client and worker, either coach or reader or whatever, mentor. There needs to be boundaries there. So that nobody should be pushing you, pressuring you for sessions. That's not cool either. So that should be in the false prophet video. I haven't watched it in a while, so I will double check that. If it's not, I will talk about that in the boundaries video. So again, if you have any questions, please reach out in the comment section. I don't think I said it at the beginning of the video because I just wanted to get this out, but like, subscribe, share if you like this channel. Please hit the notification bell because I will be setting out more videos more often when I can. I will be trying to go live a little bit more often, so if you want to catch me live, I will be doing card pulls or answering frequently asked questions. So again, make sure you hit the notification bell. By doing this, you help support the channel, you help support the algorithm on YouTube so I get seen more often. And if you, for any reason, want to support this channel, I do have a PayPal link down in the description for donations and an Amazon wish list. My Instagram, my Facebook, and my website are all down below, so you can follow me on any of those, book a session. And if you check me out on Instagram, I do have new client offers, and I do also have a refer a friend deal. So if you are a regular client already and you refer a friend to me after they have a session with me, you get a free reading with me. So that's all my housekeeping information for today. And thank you again so much for watching. I hope this helped. Have an awesome day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.